Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's fishing report, where we're going to go to the upper bay of Chesapeake Bay with Captain Tom Weaver. So we're actually going to go straight into it tonight. So let's bring in Captain Tom Weaver.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody.
So how's your evening going so far?
Wonderful. Weather's great and life's good. Didn't fish today, but other than that, it's been really good.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the groundhog, and then somebody told me about another animal in the Staten Island Zoo that saw its shadow, and something about more weeks of spring. I don't know what's going on, but this is very unseasonable weather we're having.
It's all live. Whatever happened, it was live. It's amazing. I'm loving it.
Yeah, so it's really churning things up. So let's go into the 2-minute bite and see what's biting, Captain. Tell us what's going on in the upper bay.
Where we are, so I'm sort of not quite upper bay, but middle upper bay here, Bay Bridge area, and out of Annapolis. It's all about the rockfish. I mean, the pickerel bite's good, and that's what I would normally be talking about to you all the way through February, but we've been getting 60-degree days and flat, calm, and t-shirt. So the pickerel guys, I'm like, do you just want to go out there and catch a whole bunch of big stripers? And they're like, yes, and we're catching them, and they're here. So that hasn't happened up here for a couple of years. I think 3 years ago was the last time I got them. But consistently yesterday, I popped out with these two kayak guys who pickerel fish with me regularly in the winter. And I'm like, I switched it up. I said, it's just too nice to not go after the rockfish. And I don't know, 40, 50 fish up to 30 inches. We didn't get a big one, but they were caught nearby. That's a luck of the draw thing. We caught a whole ton of fish and just, we just didn't get hooked up to a big one, but they were there. And that's what keeps us going. So 2-minute bite, rockfish are here.
So what are you using to catch the rockfish? Now, I know that there's like a stirring of beasts going on. And like you said, there's no really telling where the bigger ones are that are 40 and plus, I'm hearing. But what are you using to catch?
So it's, this is all open water rockfish. They're scattered. They're little piles of them. You find a little bit of bait. I haven't found a monster pile of bait with rockfish. I kind of had to leave a little early yesterday because my clients had a very important, my client who would never leave the water early said, I have to be back at the dock at 2 for a very, very important meeting. It's and we knew that it turned on a little bit after that. So it was unfortunate, but we did great all day. It was just picking away at these fish. And when side scan, etc., there was a little bit of bird activity, nothing crazy, but I was hitting the ledges that I would normally hit this time of year, and they were plenty of fish. Mm-hmm. So then you move to try and find the bigger class of fish. I think I fished a little too much metal yesterday because we were crushing it on the metal, and but where we were was smaller fish. So every time I put some plastic down, we were just not getting the bites that we were getting, taps on the tail and things. Mm-hmm. But then I found some nice piles of fish in the sort of low upper 20 inch range, and so my go-to jig, and I sort of mix it up a little bit, is it's 1.5 ounce. So we're 40-ish to plus feet of water. Everything's 40 feet of water or more. So I've got 1.5 ounce BKD jig head. And I don't know. I've caught more big fish on the Sexy Penny 5-inch. I've been using a lot of the 8-inch stuff, but this Sexy Penny 5-inch is a paddle tail, and it helps my clients. So there's another little thing. I don't know if you can see this, but look at that. Mm-hmm. It's a rattle.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
I glue rattles. That's my tip secret. Only people who watch the fishing channel live will hear that I put rattles. So I have a bag of rattles somewhere here. There we are. I have a bag of rattles.
Nice.
And I glue rattles into here. And yesterday we threw these into a little pile we saw. We were tripled up immediately. They hit the bottom. And it's just one of the other things advantage. I've studied fish. I look at their behavior, mm-hmm. and they come flying after a top water, and they bat it, commit, and with the rattle, I'm putting take advantage of everything I can, and so the rattle's helping. I probably should have thrown a few more of these bigger ones, but I don't know. I can put a rattle in those.
Yeah.
So this is the lure. 1.5 ounces is about right. Don't need to go to 2.
Okay.
And I like a paddle tail, particularly for my clients.
Yes, I love the paddle tail too.
They get more bites. You know.
For sure. Well, let's talk weather real quick. So what is it about this weather that's stirring all the fuss about getting out on the water? Can you explain to the audience? We typically do have people who are in this area and familiar with things, but sometimes we have people on viewing who haven't fished before and just tuning in to learn. So how does the weather change impact what's going on in the bay right now?
I mean, I have a small boat. And so that's one of the reasons I don't fish out of Point Lookout and go down there, because that's what I call big water.
Mm-hmm.
Things change, waves get really big, and any little problem, I mean, I'm a lifelong waterman, any little problem in 40-degree water becomes very dangerous. I mean, it can very quickly, and stuff happens fast out there. Yes. So my job as a licensed, qualified Coast Guard captain and licensed guide, my number one priority is the safety of my people. It's not to catch fish, it's to bring my people home. And I take that seriously. And at this time of year, stuff can go wrong so fast. It's nice to have a network, etc. So understanding the weather is one thing. I mean, it's just been in my nature. I background as a professional sailor, weather was way more important than anything else. Now I use that knowledge just to really understand, yep, I can sneak out here, we can put it in, you know what, we're going pickerel fishing today, or hey, we're going to run 15 miles, 10 miles from Annapolis and potentially try catch 50-inch, 45-inch rockfish.
Yeah.
And or a bunch of 30-inch rockfish. And so when those opportunities, you get air temperature is only one factor in this. It was 40-degree water. Most of the day it was 40 degrees around us. Even when we came back to land and everybody's walking around in shorts and t-shirts, we're all bundled up because it's 40 degrees.
Yes.
If anybody went into the water, anybody off any boat, and you're 6-7 miles from land, it's very dangerous. Really, really dangerous. So weather is super important. Now, having said that, 55-degree air temperatures, and these fish are getting, they're getting horny. I mean, this is what they're supposed to do, right? And they're heading up the rivers, and they're like, wow, it's spring. And they're feeding, the bait's moving around. So those flat calm days give us the opportunity to move fast from spot to spot or whatever, and also the warm temperatures of just firing these fish up, and they're hungry.
Yeah, for sure. I like your tip on safety. I did see some photos and videos of people wearing lighter clothes, but it is important to remember that, like you said, the temperature of the water and the distance, and you really need to consider your safety above all.
I wear my Mustang. I'm one of my very, I guess you call them regular. They book me 10 times a year. Is Boat US.
Yes.
The Boat US guys book me over the year, and I've learned a lot. I've been on the water all my life, but so Chris, he's given me. I've got 2 Mustang inflatable life jackets. I'm like, why would I wear an inflatable life jacket? Well, at this time of year, I put it on automatically. And Chris hopped on my boat. When they come down, they've all got their life jackets, and I put mine on as I suppose I've got to. And but then it got to the winter, we're getting into November and stuff. And Chris goes, look at all that gear you got to get. Your boots, your foul weather gear, and you got 2 sweatshirts on. And if you go in the water at your age, how long do you think you can swim for before one of us comes back to get you?
Exactly.
And so I'm like, and of course on my own I would put it on, but I'm really sort of more aware of that. My job is to get my clients home. If I can survive, I can get them home. And that's the big thing.
Yeah, good point. So Scott Kem chimed in. He said that I love the Waterfronts for bigs. So I saw some of the big ones that Scott Kem was catching. He's actually in your area there.
Yep.
So there are pretty big size striped bass up there as well. I personally feel, hey, if I'm catching fish on some, I just don't care sometimes what size. It's just the appreciation of the journey and having a good time. And if you're out with Captain Tom Weaver, especially,
that's totally interesting, because I leave the dock and I want to put everybody on a fish of a lifetime, 46,
right.
48, whatever inch fish. We pull up on a ledge and everybody's bailing 20-inch fish that are so fat,
Yes.
They're like, this one's huge, and it comes up, it's 20 because they're pulling hard. And we'll do that again and do that again. And I'm like, I would bail and leave personally and go try find something bigger. But they've left the office, they've bailed. I can't put their pictures on Facebook or anything because it's a Tuesday and they're goofing off and it's a beautiful day in February. And so you don't see a lot of pictures this time of year because they're supposed to be in the office, and they're bailing these 20-inch to 20. Oh, a 24. I'm like, great, but you don't understand this. And 48's around, and but that's my job as a charter captain.
Yes.
It's not. I don't sell myself as like, we're going to catch big fish, but now the opportunity to get the fish of a lifetime is out there.
For sure.
And if you want to switch up all your baits and not catch anything else, and look and get a hole in one, they're out there. They're out there.
For sure. Yeah, you're not called best of the bay for nothing.
It's best charter boat in the bay. It's not the best fisherman or anything. And by the way, that was a popularity contest.
Okay. Well, you've earned it, so you're doing something right. So really quick, I just want to remind people, as always, we do question of the evening. And speaking of BKD, we do have 6-inch avocado yellow glitter. I call it a pumpkin mix.
Yeah.
To go after those really great.
For whatever I call that, you mean this one? I call that avocado. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's avocado yellow glitter.
We call it avocado. That's the avocado. Love this early in the morning. I love this bait.
Oh, cool. So we're giving away something that Captain Tom Weaver's using. So
I've even got it rigged up. Look at that. It's already rigged.
So Rodney already has a question. How you doing, Rodney? What is your opinion about the instant inflatable life jackets?
Well, don't get that little one that wraps around your waist and you buy from West Marine. I did that, and I fished on my own for a couple of months, and I'm out offshore of Key West with one of these wrapped. It's hot, I thought I'll get the cheapest, smallest thing around my waist, and one day it kind of came undone.
Oh.
And, in the boat, I just wasn't wearing it. It came undone. I realized it was an inflatable cushion about this big. It wasn't actually, I didn't think to go unwrap it and see what was in this thing, However, the Mustangs, which is what I have, I'll get one just so people understand.
Sure. Yeah, great question, Rodney. There are a lot of life jackets out there, particularly I think it's Walmart, that don't say that they're U.S. Coast Guard certified.
So if I'm wearing this, it's classified as a Coast Guard certified life jacket. Mm-hmm. If it's not on me, it doesn't count as one of my life jackets. But this is what the DNR will be wearing, and this is what the Boat US Foundation group recommend. You can't fly with them because they have the cylinder in them, which is the biggest challenge nowadays.
Yes.
But for me, honestly, with all my gear on, I have no idea this is on. I personally don't wear it in the summer. If I've got a light shirt on, I'm not going to put a big old life jacket on, and the water's 70 degrees. This time of year, I don't walk outside the door without that on. Once I've got my jacket on, I don't even know it's on.
Right. Well, make sure everybody where you are, because we have people from other states and apparently other countries. You check out what your state regulations are. I think there's something very specific to children through a certain age. So make sure you check that out.
Well, there's size of boats. I mean, my boat's big enough that we don't have to have,
yes,
but the size of the boat and all the regulations. In my career, I did some round the world races, and I was sent away to 4 days of intensive survival training in launch. I've been off the back of a mock freighter in one of those lifeboats. I've been underwater at night. I've had to inflate
Oh my gosh.
life rafts in a swimming pool at night with people pulling at my legs. Pretty intense stuff, learning how to survive if it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was years ago, but I mean, I'm learning every day. And I tell you one thing, these Boat US people that fish with me, which is, the Boat US Foundation and Boat US, I learn from those guys when they come fish with me. I learn every day. And I now preach. I tell, we can go on about all the safe to kill switches and all the other stuff and the little tricks about those things. But that life jacket now, especially in the winter, I pull it on. I don't walk out the door.
Right. Excellent points. So maybe everyone should join TFC Plus so we can get those hot tips from Captain Tom Weaver that's exclusive to our channel on how to properly don a PFD and all the intricacies that he's just mentioned. So we got some more questions rolling in. Carl Ward, Tom, what metals are your favorite?
I'm going to cut one off a rod here. I don't have any of the big flutter spoons here. They're on the boat, which is over there. But this little guy here, I don't even know what it's called. I got a bunch of rods. So it's a 2 ounce straight silver. And
Yes.
you bump it slowly off the bottom, and they just nail it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's nothing fancy. We're probably not even fluttering it much because it's kind of, I can't remember what this one's called. I don't know. But anyway, that one.
Yes.
But nowadays I'm looking. I actually had the pleasure of rafting up with LJ from GI Jigs yesterday afternoon while they fired the barbecue up. Bob Bruns and LJ had the barbecue going, and at 0 knots of wind, and you're out in the middle of the bay and you smell a barbecue. I mean, well, hey, I'm going to come and investigate. So we pulled up, and LJ gave a full tutorial to the 2 clients of mine on every lure that he was developing and playing with, including the big spoons and things like that he's using for these big fish.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're huge. They're 10 inches.
Yeah, I had to stop by LJ's house recently, and the spoons, even the different variations. Grant chimed in and said it is the crippled herring.
The crippled herring, yeah. Oh, this is crippled herring, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a charter guy. I just get a handful of these, and I try. My rule: keep it simple. Don't introduce too many stuff, because then one thing starts catching, and then I got to put everything on that, and so I try to keep my whole procedure pretty simple and not get too wrapped up in the gear. Yeah,
for sure. And what I like about the presentation of those, because there are different variations of them made. Our sponsor, which he's on here, Fig, Robert Figliosi, uses different variations of those, and the presentation going down.
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing was slow pitch jigging with and I think my rod reel combo setup was close to $2,000 at my price, and the lures that the Japanese developed, but now they're designed for South Florida, fishing 600-700 feet of water and catching giant fish on that. I've been developing it here, but then my stuff was stolen and I didn't replace it. And I was talking to them, but the slow pitch is for this time of year in 60 feet, 70 feet of water. It's almost too shallow for it, but it would be phenomenal. But I lost my rod and reel.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
And I'm not going to replace that for 4 trips a year at the moment.
No. Okay, so Grant says we need to do a speed round. Okay, Grant, if you can start rolling those in, or I can do it, whichever way you want to do this. So Robert Figliosi, our sponsor, when migration females come from ocean to bay and rivers to spawn, do the molas follow them in? Males. There's no E and exclamation point. Sorry. Follow them in as well, or do resident males take care of business?
The resident males are up there waiting. So the males are up there waiting. Here comes the females. It's like a bus stop, and Fig should go all the way up to Denton or what? Right, go to Denton and sit on the bank, and you can watch 50-inch stripers with 20 plus males come banging into the side of her. It's phenomenal to see. And start now. They're here. And so those males will be up there waiting for each of these girls to show up.
Right. So Michael says, Tom, I keep hearing about working the channel edges. What and where exactly is that? Without saying too much.
40 feet to 60 feet, maybe 70 feet. So from here, I leave. I go out. I go straight to 40 feet. I mean, on the west side or the east side, I'm looking for the channel edge, and I'm going to run down the channel edge. And my boat, at 22, 24 mile an hour, I can see bait, and bait will show up. Big balls of bait. If I spot bait, slow down, start looking around. Is there fish in the bait? What type of bait is it? Is it schooled up? Is it loose? So the channel edges, I'm running everywhere I go. I'll go to a channel edge, and I'm looking the whole way down, and working and planning my route along channel edges.
Great. So Scott Kem, Captain, in your opinion, fishing moving in, you feel are moving through channel or south to north? So which direction?
When they're moving, when they're going south to north, when they're heading out, they're on their way out. On their way in, they kind of meander up and down, and they spread out. I mean, yesterday we found them in a very large 41-foot area, little piles here and there. Then the big bite happened a little bit south of me when I'd gone home. But we found all these little humps and things, and they weren't really on a channel edge at that time. So I don't think that very classic situation happened yesterday afternoon. The rockfish pushed the bait into the channel edge and then up over the channel. We had birds on top of them, little birds. So we were following, so that they were moving quite fast. So you'd do one drift through it. You'd have to go right around the other side of the birds, drift back through it as the rockfish pushed the bait shallower and shallower until the bait wasn't comfortable getting any shallower. So are they moving north to south? I think, with all the gillnet boats that we've had around here recently and stuff, I think they're just gorging on what's here. I think they reached the Bay Bridge. Bay Bridge seems to be a little staging post for them. I don't know.
Makes sense.
Good question, though, Scott. Good question.
Yes. Michael Cool. Tom, I need to know what size hook you need for that fly I'm making.
I meant to reply. I saw it. I've been busy. I think it's a 2-aught. I'm going to dig this out.
We have them on the show. Let's ask the question.
Yeah, it's that big. I guess that's a 2-aught. Yeah.
Okay.
2-aught. Thank you, Michael. I meant to reply to that. Sorry.
All right. So Carl Ward. How you doing, Carl? You ever try the fly this time of year for rockfish? That's a great question, Carl. I like that one.
I've always got a fly rod on board and a heavy sinking line. I haven't pulled it out. I mean, these are difficult. I mean, the bite's subtle, they're tricky. I mean, if they start rolling on the surface or they've got even suspended a little bit where I think I can get down to them and we're getting a consistent bite, the glued to the bottom ones, unless they're right on a specific ledge and it's, we're not.
I like that. Why not? To everything, right? Just try your luck and see what happens. Great question, Carl. So that is it for questions of the evening. So now it's time for you to choose which question of the evening wins.
I'm going to go channel edges. I think, is debating all the others, but I think that's a good question. What is a channel edge and what are we doing and how are we doing it? Because it's pretty fundamental to fishing this time of year.
Great. Well, congratulations, Michael, for winning question of the evening. I don't think that we've had you as a winner before, so if you can do me a favor and either send us a message on Facebook or an email to admin@thefishingchannel.net, and we can get this great gift out to you. Captain Tom Weaver, let me get rid of this question really quick. So if someone wants to book a charter with you, is it even possible at this point? And if so, how do they get a hold of you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm going to run pickerel trips, which is my bread and butter this time of year through early March. And then February and March is all rockfish. And then we shut down. And then, yeah, I've got May's filling up. May's pretty full, but June, July, get some dates there. Just www.fishwithweaver.com or all the information is on the website, fishwithweaver.com.
Okay. Is the 410-533-0928 still a good one?
Best number. Text me on that. Text is great. Love text because I can't always answer.
Let me put that up really quick so everyone can see before we sign off. Any last words for us, Captain?
Well, it's one of the this warm weather. The gopher was wrong or whatever he was, and it's turning into fishing's great right now. Come on out. It's really good. Inshore up the creeks and out in the bay. You know, it's good. It's really good.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for your time, Captain. Really appreciate it as always. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your questions. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
I appreciate them. Yeah.
Thank you. Hope everyone has an amazing evening. Get out and fish, y'all. And as always, fish on. Bye-bye.